Welcome, 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 everyone. Hey, if you're here and you tuned in right now, you're not here by mistake. As a matter of fact, call somebody and tell them to not only come listen to this podcast, but to also hit that subscribe button so you'll know when the next episode's released. My name is Kimberlon B. I am a licensed counselor, and you are here at Good Tea and Reads. And I'm so excited that you're here. This is my first show as a podcast, and I'm like, ooh, okay, I think I can get this done. So let me tell you something about this show, everybody that's tuning in. Yes, I may be a licensed counselor, but I'm not that boring type. I want to know more than how do you feel, right? We're going to talk about stuff. We're going to laugh it up. We're going to cry on this show because taking care of your mental health is one of the biggest stigmas that we have amongst the community. People don't like to come and see me at my office because they said, I'm not crazy. There's nothing wrong with me. Y'all charge too much. This, and this, and this. They say all of that. But hey, we're going to talk about all of that. We're eliminating all of these stigmas. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, and people that know me outside of this platform, know that mental health is just as important as physical health. So Good Tea and Reads, the purpose of the show is that we're gonna have some good times on this show. Go brew your tea, get your tea ready. Me, as a matter of fact, I'm a Southern girl. So I like to have sweet tea. So I don't do the hot tea. I don't do the chamomiles. Nothing against, no shade, people that do that type of tea. I just do sweet tea in my cup, and that's my jam. All right, so we're going to talk about on Good Tea and Reads, we're going to talk about everyday topics. So it's things that go on in the news, or it may be things that you see every day. Now, some of the things we may actually discuss on the show may actually be based off of real life scenarios. So when we talk about the mental health perspective, I don't want y'all to think that I'm talking about that person, trying to diagnose that person, or I'm giving advice for that person to use or advice for you to use, because I don't know your complete story. I don't know their complete stories. But what I do know is that if you want to talk to somebody in counseling, that find somebody in your city. There's absolutely fabulous sites like Psychology Today, or you can Google, or you can ask your primary care provider and they can get you connected. Sometimes we think that this counseling stuff is boring. Let me tell you, it's not boring when it comes to me. You don't want to come see me in the office. Some people don't like to come see me and probably would never see me. So I decided to take my show outside of the counseling room and bring it right here on the airwaves so we can actually talk about these mental health issues and the importance of taking care of your mental health. So this isn't my first show. People that tuned in before, I had a show that was called Under the Scope, and it was a scope cast, which is pretty cool because I had the podcast thing going on and I had the video. And so I would call my guests on the show. We would talk about different topics and, of course, how they relate to mental health. Y'all are going to learn that that's my jam. And then anybody that was tuning in had an opportunity to ask our guests unrehearsed questions, and that was the taking them under the scope part. And it was pretty cool. I had the best time, and I met some amazing people from around the world, and I am grateful that I met each and every one of them because they gave me something that I could use that helped me get on this podcast today. So what happened to Under the Scope? I'm glad you asked, or you probably didn't ask. And you probably don't even care at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway to let you know why I am on this podcast under Good Tea and Reads. Well, I was on a platform. It was a gospel-based platform. And we'll talk about this in other episodes, but gospel, church, And mental health sometimes that doesn't go well and it's not recognized. And so they were giving out like little awards on the station, but they said my show couldn't get it because I wasn't talking about religious stuff. And I'm like, you know what? It can go hand in hand, because it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist. You'll hear me talk about that. But they didn't see it that way. So they said, we're sorry, we couldn't recognize your show. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine if you can't recognize it. And so then me and the producer, we didn't see eye to eye. I'll talk about that later. That's a long story. And so I went out on my own, and I was just actually doing the show, but then I actually lost the momentum of doing it. I started working on, I guess, other projects in my life, and then life started lifing. One thing you're going to learn about me as you tune in episode to episode, I'm actually really transparent. And I'm transparent to the point to let you know that, one, I'm human first, and I'm counselor, therapist second. So I just like to let you in on my world and what I'm going through. Of course, I don't tell all my business, right? You can't tell all your business, but I'll tell you just enough. But going back to the show, I just lost the momentum. And so I went ahead and put it on pause. And you know what? That's a lesson, mental health lesson number 1. It's okay to take care of you. It is. It's definitely okay to take care of you. Me, I was in a place to where I was like people pleasing, and I wanted to make sure that everybody was happy. You know, you want me to do the show, I'm going to do the show. Everybody's benefiting, I'm going to keep doing the show. You need this, I got you. But I was stretching myself so thin that I didn't have enough for myself. And I know you probably have heard before on the planes, everybody uses this analogy about with the oxygen, taking care of yourself before you take care of the little ones. And I had to learn that. I had to walk back my mentality and realize that it's okay to take care of myself. And so I started putting the oxygen on myself, which is why I pressed pause on the show. But now I'm back, better than ever. Now I'm ready to start talking about mental health again. I'll take those topics that you see on the news and we'll talk about it. But I will be giving a general perspective on things because, again, I'm not here diagnosing. I'm not here giving them advice. I'm not giving you advice, as I mentioned. And my disclaimer is anything that I share on this show, even though that I'm a licensed counselor, it does not substitute you going to see a professional. And I just want everybody to understand it. So don't think you can tune in on Good Tea and Reads and that we're doing therapy here. You and me are not doing therapy, right? We're just talking about different topics. And I hope that I am encouraging you, each of you, to take care of your mental health. Because it's easy, right? It's funny because every time I've talked about this before, when we talk about our physical health, we can boldly say, yes, I have a headache. Oh, my stomach hurts. We don't have those type of stigmas surrounding that. Even though sometimes I was thinking, shoot, as much as I eat or as much as sweet tea that I drink, I should be keeping that information to myself. But we can say these things boldly when it comes to our physical health, and then we can say the solutions. I need to go on a diet. I need to run. I need to go work out. Look, been there, done that. I get the momentum stopped. All right. Okay, I'm going to scale it back in. I'm going to stay on track. I'm staying on track. But then here's the thing. When it comes to our mental health, if we are showing signs of depression, loss of motivation, unable to get out of bed, just feeling sad, and just real heavy to where we don't feel like doing anything, taking care of anything in our daily lives. We don't have those conversations with people. And it's hard to have those conversations with people because there's this thing, and it's called stigmas, where people have so much stigma that they don't want to talk about how they're feeling, because sometimes we people may tell us to like pray it away, or people may tell us that you're okay. You're going to be okay. You can get up. You got it. You know, we say these things because we're human. But then if I don't feel that way, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to feel that way to strive. That's not going to happen. So then listening to this show will give us the steps and what we need to get to where we need to go. So that's the purpose of how and why I'm talking here on Good Tea and Read. Some of the times I'll be doing the shows by myself, just talking about different topics. This is like an intro show today. So I'm just really just letting you know my heart of heart while I'm here. Future shows, you'll hear me talking about everyday topics, or I may actually have guests come in and we'll talk about topics. One thing, even though we're talking about mental health, some of the things you see on TV where therapists or counselors, and those words are used interchangeably, may seem like they're stiff, stoic and rigid and wear sweaters and talk, how does this make you feel? And then I got the couch and a notebook. Oh, you're not going to get that from me. Let me tell you, there's times that I'm very, very serious about it when I need to be serious. Let me correct some. I do like them sweaters. So y'all don't come for me and don't laugh. I like them sweaters. This counselor loves to wear Crocs. If you don't like Crocs and you feel like Crocs is overrated, that's something we're not going to talk about, okay? Because I love my Crocs. I have about 20 pairs of Crocs. So don't play with me. But one thing I will say on this show, when we can have fun, we're going to have fun. We're going to keep it light. I'm a little bit mature. I'm older. I dare not share with you my age because we're not cool like that just yet. But when I get cool like that, I will share with you my age, but not right now. I like to tell a lot of stories. That's how you can tell when people are older, because they love to tell stories. And I have a lot. So some of the everyday topics I may talk about or things I may share, it may be my own experiences, right? By the end of the shows, whether it's this show or the future shows, we may become the best of friends, right? You'll get to know all about me, and hopefully I get to know about you. And then you and I will be so super cool that you'll invite other people, right? And hit that subscribe button. Yes, that is a selfish plug that I just threw in. But I also want to take some time to share with you on this first episode. I became a counselor. I didn't start out as a counselor, which is very funny. I actually started out in the banking field. I was working with numbers, but I've always loved people. But it was hard for me to go into the field. Why? Let me tell you, it's one reason. Not because I was scared. Not because I had to go back to school. It was the money. I ain't gonna even lie to you. It was the money. That was why I didn't want to do it. But I decided that I was going to launch out and do it. So I went to school, and it just sounded so fly. Like, I'm going to school to become a counselor because I want to help people. And everybody was like, that's so great, Kimberline. That's so great. I'm so proud of you. And I said, me too. But it was okay because I was in school for about 3 years. That was the length of the program, y'all. It didn't take me that long to get out of school. It was a 3-year program. So I went to school and I was still, doing my numbers. I was in banking. And all of a sudden, when I got to the very end, I was like, wait a minute. Do I really want to do this counseling thing? Because it's going to cut into my money. And then I was like, I don't know. So then here I go. I was like, if I could stay here, but if I happen to find a job and they hire me, I'll leave the banking field and I'll become a counselor. Right? That was what I said. And I was like, this is good, right? Because I wasn't looking for a job. I said, if I happen to find one. And it reminded me of Here I am with the story. Or some people, can you relate to this? When I was growing up, I would tell people, especially when I thought I was going to get in trouble as a child, I would tell people, I would tell people, I would talk to God. If I think I'm going to get in trouble, and I would say, God, if my mama don't find out that I've XYZ'd whatever that was, fill in the blank, I promise I will go to church every Sunday and I will stay woke the entire time, and I will listen to the preacher preach. I don't know if anybody out there can relate, but that was my heart-to-heart prayer every time, and it seemed like God just blessed me and kept me through it all, because I would go to church on that Sunday and I would be asleep. But here's the thing. I did not look for a job. As I said, I was like, hey, if there's a counselor job that comes up, I'll just take it. My intern supervisor actually reached out to me, and he was like, Kimberline, there's an opportunity for you to become a counselor, and all you have to do is say yes. I'm like, what? So then I had to make this decision, because I had to put my money, where my mouth was. Now I got to make that transition into the job, because that was something that I said. And this is why I said my heart of heart. I like to help people. And so I actually just went out there on faith, and I actually made the transition to become a counselor. And I know it was a pay cut. I'm not going to lie to you. People want to tell you, oh, it was great. I made the change and didn't lack or whatever. They say stuff like that. It was rough for a little bit, but it wasn't rough always. I was able to actually double that income cut. I was able to double it. And as a counselor now, I'm making more than I was in the banking field. Please don't look for me to rob me. Please don't, because I don't make that much. I'm just saying I made more than I did when I was in the banking field. So don't come rob me, okay? I'm not rolling like that, right? I'm still trying to get to the next level. That's why I'm doing good tea and reads right now. But yeah, and so I actually became a counselor, and it was the best transition that I made, and I have no regrets. Mental health has always been important to me, even before I had my license as a counselor. Some people that's probably out there can actually relate to this, because I had a passion to help people. I mean, if people are going through, I just want to be there. If they need somebody to listen to, I want to listen to it. I want it to be there for them, because I've always felt that people weren't there for me. And usually that turns you into this superhero person, and you want to go out and save everybody. Again, as I mentioned before, that's how I became that people pleaser. And I started overextending myself to help people, because I had that lack. And in experiencing that lack, it didn't feel good. Didn't say I was doing it the right way. Didn't say I was doing it the wrong way. But what I will tell you is that I had to sit there and figure out how to set these boundaries so I wouldn't overextend myself to help people. And that's why I started saying it's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. This actually became some of my mantras I would actually say in the mirror all the time, because it was true. And so a little bit before I became a counselor, so again, I was sharing with you that, this is what I want to do. I like to do this. Everywhere I would go, check this out. This is pre-counselor Kimberline, right? Everywhere I would go, whether I was at Walmart, okay, I know they don't pay me, but whether I was at the grocery store, people would always walk up to me telling me their stories, telling me their problems. Some people come up to me crying because they had a loved one pass away. they come up to me with tears, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if they only know that I'm not right at all. I'm all in my head. I'm sitting up here probably in the middle of some drama somewhere in the world or something. But they would actually come to me and ask questions, and I was there for them. I sat there for them, and I supported them. And so I knew that that was the right field for me. Even when I was in the banking industry, I would actually just sit there, and I had my customers and I had clients that I would actually talk to. And because I talk so much, not like I'm doing right now, I was able to, I knew about their friends, their family. I mean, we probably would have invited each other for the dinner. That's how much we talked to each other, because I'm such a personal person. And so it was the best. So that's a little bit about me. But again, the reason, I can tell you about 1,000 reasons why I made the podcast, is because even though I have this passion to tell people about the importance of mental health, as I said earlier, not too many people come to see people like me. Again, there's different stigmas that exist. One, as I mentioned before, is some people said, I can't afford to come see you. But you can't afford to not come see me. And yes, do I charge? Yes. Because why? I like to eat too. I like to pay my bills. I like things like you like things, right? But you have to be able to get to a place to invest in yourself. And one thing that I will say about the mental health field is that, yes, there are people out there that charge. Yes, you do have insurance out there. But there's also resources out there that you can actually see people for free, or that goes by your income. There's people out there. Other things that happen are other stigmas that actually exist, especially in the BIPOC communities and the minority communities, however you want to see that, is that you don't see a lot of people that look like us, right? So I know you can tell that I'm non-white, probably by my voice, but there's not a big presence of us that you see. And minorities, sometimes they don't feel comfortable around white counselors because sometimes they don't know how to relate. So it's hard to go out there and see people and get sound advice. It's almost as if we speak different languages, right? Because some of the things that we say, may prompt somebody that's white to call the cops. So we have to figure out what we need to do all around, right, everybody, to become more culturally competent. Some of the prime examples that I have with that is, being a black client, for example, and if they say, I'm going to beat the brakes off, my kids, or they say something like that, a white person not understanding may think, oh gosh, I'm going to make a call to Child Protective Services because they're abusive. And sometimes black people just be saying that's an expression. So it's important that counselors become culturally competent so that we're able to relate, so we can assess, right, whether this person is getting abused or is this an expression that's being said. But then because of you may call the cops, you may call them people to come and take my kids. I'm not going to come see you. I'm not going to come see you. So there's a big push to get more of us in the field or to help people become culturally competent. But that's one of the reasons that people don't come and see people. Also, in some minority communities or some different cultures, hey, we don't see anybody. These people out here think that you crazy. What goes on in this house stays in this house. Things like that keep us bound. Unfortunately, that's how we was raised. I don't want nobody to think I'm crazy. And how is it if we think about it? But again, you got to, get that sound help. How is it that I'm crazy when I'm feeling down? When I have thoughts about if whether or not I can go on or am I going to give up? That's some real things that actually happen. Sometimes you just can't process that information by yourself. Sometimes there's nobody there for you to process with. Sometimes, based on culture, I should say even social economic status, sometimes it's hard for people that's in different pay groups, or even if you think about it on your job, people that are on their jobs, or even pastors in church, they may not be able to come out and say, I'm feeling this way, I'm experiencing this, I battle with this, because they don't know if they can go to somebody that can give sound advice. Because, there's a lot of people out here in the world, honey. You come to them pouring out your heart. You can come tell me anything, but they will go spread your business. By the time you get out, your business is spread it. It is spread it. It may not even be a word, but your business is out there. That's for sure. And so that makes it hard for people to seek that support as well. And I know we say what goes on stays in here, but really ask yourself, if you listening to this, if there was a time that you was blue or, sad, mad, experienced some feelings where you just can't shake, who was there for you to go to? Sometimes we have like people that we hang out with, right? We hang out with, we kick it with, but let me tell you, you can't even go to them, no matter how cool you are, because they don't know how to respond. They're there, but sometimes they be on their own stuff, right? They dealing with their own stuff. And even though they say, you can tell me anything, and you tell them something, they're like, yeah, you don't have to take that. Sometimes we need that relief. Sometimes when we go to our friends, we go to our families, they either want to be that toolbox, and we looking for a pillow. And what I mean by that is, we go to them when we hurt, we going through, we mad, we whatever. We just not feeling good. You fill in the blanks. But you go to them, you don't have to take that. You better than that. You victorious. We this, we that. You superwoman. We say all these different things. If I don't feel that way in the moment, I'm not going to be able to relate to that. And that will cause me to shut down. Again, it's not your family's fault. It's not your friend's fault. They are not trained professionals. They just want to get you out of that space. Sometimes you get the judgmental people, and this is what makes it hard for certain people to actually talk about what they're going through. Because if you say, hey, I'm feeling this way, then they're like, well, you did make that choice, right? That doesn't feel good either. As a matter of fact, that feels very, very icky as well. And so then you find yourself not saying anything. Then you find yourself feeling alone. Then you start isolating from other people. And that's not a good place to be also. All of this stuff actually happens. And next thing you know, that pressure from holding everything in will actually just start to build, and eventually it's going to bust, right? And it may come out in the form of an addiction, right? Drinking is good, okay? Now you're trying to drink because it's just pressure. And before you know it, it goes from drinking to take the pain away to depending on that drink to keep the pain away. It could come out in the form of drugs. It can come out in the form of sex. It can come out in the form of excessive shopping. It could come out in the form of excessive exercising. It can cause us to have thoughts of us wanting to exit this earth, just die by suicide. Let me just put that on out there. It can come out anyway. It could cause us, these thoughts could cause us to get into these relationships that mean us no good. And it's just everything that just equals bad. And again, it's unhealthy for us. So, and then next thing you know, we find ourselves in a bad place. Yes, we do. So this is why I decided to actually step outside of the counseling room. Everywhere I can go, if I have an opportunity to speak about mental health, I speak about mental health because I want to be able to go out there and talk to people. And I'm not saying I'm all that in a bag of chips, but it's okay for me to give myself a pat on the back because I tell you what, if I reach one person, one that says thank you, you was talking to me, I was thinking about going to see someone, can you help me get connected to someone? Or listening to you made me think that I really need to go see someone. I have done my job. Now, let me tell you something. I'll take the one, but I'll take the 10,000. I'll take the million people, too, that can get into services. I'll take it all. Yes. And again, it's not about me, right? Because I got this other saying, y'all. I'm a clinician and not a magician. So it's not what I'm saying that's actually getting people free. That's why you have to go see a trained professional, because our job is to come alongside of you. Whatever it is, right? I mean, we always think when it comes to counseling that it's got to be something tragic. It can be something as simple as goal setting. Our job is to help you find the right solutions. That's our job. And then you can navigate the solution. Some people think that they come to me or come to counselors to get told what to do. Now, some of y'all know dang well if you come and tell me your business and I tell you, you need to do X, Y, and Z and X, Y, and Z. If that doesn't align to how you do things, you're not going to do it. It's not going to work. So it's me figuring out along with you what works that's going to get you to do what works. That's how that works. So it's a win-win, right? My goal as a counselor is to talk myself out of a job. I'm going to tell you something. This field is wild. That's how I know I'm doing a good job. When you decide to go ahead and graduate and leave me, that means I've done a great job. And let me tell you, counselors don't get it right all the time, right? So sometimes we try to help. Sometimes we try to come alongside. We may say the wrong thing by accident. We don't even know it's the wrong thing, but it's the wrong thing. And you may not come back and see us again. That's okay. But don't stop right there. Because sometimes we take it and we like, I'm not going back. Them people, somebody made me mad. They said this. Get your hind part up and go and find somebody else to see. Right? I mean, y'all expect for us to get it right day one. And it's like, And I don't want to go tell somebody my business and then go tell somebody else my business. You better tell the right person your business, because some of y'all are talking to the wrong people to begin with. So, and they definitely not helping you. But just don't give up on it. You know, bet on yourself. If you bet on yourself, you're not going to give up on yourself, right? And I also tell people as well, because in the next shows, you may not even hear me say that. I like this. I feel like I'm rambling, but hey, I don't care. This is the life. This is the life of a counselor. If you don't like that counselor that you're with, fire them. You hear me? Fire them. It's okay. Y'all will fire these doctors in a minute. Y'all will fire a hairdresser in a minute. Same thing with a counselor. You don't like it. You don't feel comfortable, fire. But I will challenge you with this. When I say if you don't like somebody, that means if you don't feel like opening up, you don't feel like talking to them, you don't feel safe talking to them, and you don't feel like feel a connection with them, then you go ahead and fire them and let them know that you want to find somebody else. And again, I told you, go find somebody else. Don't give up on this profession, okay? So please go find somebody else. But if you are connected with a counselor that is challenging you, and you may get mad, but that if they, hitting some of them spots or hitting some of those things that you've had hidden or stuffed down inside of you, and they making you mad for that moment, and they challenging you with them secrets that you have held, those feelings of shame and guilt and stuff like that, and they're causing it to come up, it's gonna feel icky. If it feel icky experiencing it, it's gonna feel icky coming up, and they're challenging you in a good way. Stick with that person. Stick with that person, because eventually, like I said, it's not going to feel great coming up, and you may not come out of every session saying, that was the best counseling session ever. You may not be able to say that each and every time. You may even hate your counselor when you come during the meeting and when you come out, but stick with it. You deserve to release all of that stuff that you're holding on to, all of that stuff that's bound inside of you. It's good to release it, honey. It is good to release it. Trust and believe it's good. So I'm excited to be on the platform. I don't want to keep rambling because I don't want y'all to think I'm going to do this all the time, because y'all going to say I'm not going to listen to her again because she talked too much. But I do encourage you to come in for the next episodes, because we're going to be hitting it hard. We're going to talk about all kinds of everyday topics. So you got to you got to come back. You got to come back. And you got to tell others about it as well, right? Because we got some good tea and reads on this show, right? Because we always hear about the tea. Give me the tea. Give me the tea. I want the tea, or I'm going to read this person. Right here, we got good tea and good reads. And that's with us talking about mental health. So I do want you to come here. I'm getting ready to actually close out this first episode. It was just an intro episode. Hopefully I got your attention, that you'll decide to come back here, give it a try. Same thing with counseling. Give it a try. Just don't go one time and expect somebody to just wooze you off your feet. Some of y'all have been in unhealthy relationships a lot longer, and you still spinning the block trying to find, Mr. or Mrs. Right, or whoever that right person is. So you got to come back here and give it a try. This has been great. I'm excited. Episode 2 will be out. We'll be talking about mental health and something. You just got to come back. I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share. Y'all, please don't think I have an attitude. I'm just really excited and really serious when it comes to mental health. I'm talking about mental health because I want everybody to have good mental health, or know how to navigate their mental health, because mental health is wealth, right? The opposite of mental illness is mental wellness. And that's what I want to work on with you, okay? So please don't give up on me. In your city, wherever you're tuning into, Psychology Today, Google, who are the counselors, who is someone I can go to. Just know you can find someone that you're comfortable working with. I would challenge you to even ask that. If you're comfortable with males, females, or, whatever your preferences are, specialty preferences. It's okay if it's religion, the LGBTQ communities, things like whatever you need to make you feel safe. Get plugged in and look for somebody. And if you don't know where to go, again, you can try your primary care provider. One thing I want to leave people with, if you're tuning in, you're feeling low, you're feeling super anxious, you don't feel safe, 988 is the number to call. 988 and get some help. 911, usually the cops will come out to assess if you need immediate help, or if you know someone Mental Health of America. You can text them at 741-741. I like how they made everything easy, and you can get someone that you can text with, and they also can get you connected to somebody. So this is amazing. Thank you for hanging out with me, listening to the intro. I guarantee the upcoming episodes will not disappoint. Hit subscribe, tell 3 friends so they can tell 3 friends, so y'all can come in here and get this mental health work. I appreciate you for listening, everyone. I do. This is Kimberlon B. This is Good Tea and Reads, and I am excited to be on your platform, and I'm going to figure out what other platforms that I'm going to be on also. I'm figuring this thing out. Right now, it's just me and my phone, and I promise you, I'm about to build this thing up, and we are going to ride this mental health awareness bus until the wheels fall off. Until next time, take care, and remember, mental health is wealth. Have a good one.